Welcome back, guys. Max here. And normally you'd be seeing an episode of I Spy today, but in light of the fact that we have the Russian DLC and the name of the Tsar has dropped, and I've been grinding away for various different weapons, today we're going to have a look at the map Galicia, and we're going to have a look at the Mosin Nagant Marksman, which I finally unlocked yesterday morning. The grind for that with the tripwire bombs was an absolute nightmare. Did find a quirky little trick, I guess you might want to call it that certainly helped, which I will share with you guys. And first things first, let's look at the map Galicia. So on Reddit, you're going to see that the Russian DLC has been absolutely slammed by the community for being very poor, very unfinished, very glitchy, laggy, and so forth, and just a whole bunch of very negative feedback. Now, in part, some of it I do agree with, and some of it I don't. But in the most part, I will say this. I am absolutely loving the Russian DLC. The content is great. I'm having a blast playing this. Jumped in with some subs earlier and some members of the Legion. Was struggling a little bit on my own, so I enlisted the help of some buddies. And in they came, and off we went. And the gameplay in the background is taken from Galicia, with these guys helping me out and having a good old time. And we had some absolutely epic games. Really having a lot of fun with this. So I don't share the viewpoint of the majority of the people on Reddit. I personally think this is a great and welcome addition to the game, and all in all, hats off to DICE for putting this together and producing some really good and solid content. Now, there are some improvements that need to be made, without a shadow of a doubt, but all in all, I think they did a great job. And for all of you out there, I'm not sponsored by EA, I'm not sponsored by DICE, and so if I really wanted to slam the content, I could, but this is my actual, genuine opinion. I'm having a blast. I think the content is good, needs a little bit of refinement, and perhaps maybe they should have done it before they unleashed it, but hey, it's here. I think it's good. And anyway, back to Galicia. So Galicia is getting slammed. Now, this is the map that I personally don't like. I think this could have had a little bit of extra work done to it. I think it's a little bit basic and a little bit simple. But nonetheless, this map in the real world environment would be exactly like this. So what you get is basically a field. You get a handful of windmills, some buildings over on the backside by the Charlie flag, and the rest of it is just basically craters in the ground which you can hide in. It is an absolute sniper fest. It's very open. There is a river that runs, kind of trails its way through the map, but there's also some trenches. So if you'll see in the background, you'll see some trench gameplay where you can actually utilize the trenches to your own advantage, and you can pick these guys off as they come towards you. And this enemy team actually knew what they were doing. This game we lost eventually, but it was a very tight game all the way through and went backwards and forwards. But utilizing the trenches on the map is certainly a way that you can not only navigate around this map, but you can also use it to quite good effect, as you can see in the gameplay behind me, of just how you can exploit all these trenches, all the craters in the ground and all that kind of stuff, to give yourselves a little bit of cover that maybe wouldn't be there. Now, if you are running in a medic class gun or something along the lines of that, you are going to have a really rough time on this map. It's an absolute sniper fest. I suggest you pick up an LMG, flop on your belly. There was a guy that killed me several times, just flopped on his belly with an MG15. And that is the tactic to go. If you want to beat snipers, you better pick up an LMG and just like hose them down and just bullet spray. And that's not to say that you cannot use guns like the Fedorov and stuff like that. They all will work, but for the most part, this is going to be a sniper LMG fest, and that's certainly the way this game in the background played out. I think this finished at a 45 and 13 or something along the lines of that, 45 and 16, I can't remember. But anyway, it's completely irrelevant. But let's move on to the Marksman and the Mosin Nagant variant of that gun. 15 tripwire bomb kills. As I said, I will share the trick, or certainly the tip I used for it. I jumped in hardcore. And if you place down the tripwire bombs, I've noticed this, rather than looking at the ground when you place your tripwire bomb down, stare directly ahead of yourselves and tilt them away from a doorway. Place them directly in doorways, not in open areas or not in the middle of a room. And look directly at the wall, and you'll find that the wire that springs out will actually fire directly into the wall, and it directs the blast radius is a little more fierce. But for the most part, I got my kills in hardcore. It just kills people instantaneously without hitting them for 70. Bear in mind, everybody in the core game right now is running the flak specialization, so it does even less damage than it would have done in the normal game, and so it's a little bit more of a challenge to get these 15 tripwire bomb kills that you need. So that would be my advice. Do it in hardcore. That's where I did it. I did some in regular and some in hardcore, and off and went. Anyway, Marksman, Mosin Nagant, this gun is an absolute beast. I said this, it was going to replace the Gewehr 98 for me, and I was not wrong. Took me a little while to get accustomed to the bolt action and the lead times on the bullets, but all in all, this gun is absolutely fantastic. If you want to check out the history of this gun, the history of the gun is really interesting. However, I'm not going to go over the history of the gun because, like I've stated before in other videos, this is not the history channel, but all the information is up there for you to see. But the real information that I did want to pull down is because there is nothing on Simtic right now giving us information about bullet speeds and all that kind of fun jazz. I'm reading this straight off of Wikipedia because obviously the bullet speeds typically DICE will keep in line with the guns from the real world environment, I guess you want to call it that. And so the muzzle velocity of this gun is going to be somewhere in the region of about 865 meters per second, which is coming up on the Gewehr 98. And certainly when you play with this gun, it really does feel like that bullet speed is just winging along. I've been struggling a lot with the lead times on the gun, thinking that I had to lead a little bit more because maybe it shot a little slower like the SMLE does, but it doesn't. This bullet wings along like no other. I mean, it really is point and shoot, and absolutely fantastic. The only other thing, the little tip that I did, or not a tip, I'm going to give it to you guys, something that I did pick up along the way, if you push down on the D-pad and extend the gun's range or the sight range out to 150 meters rather than the 75 meter baseline, you're going to have a much better experience. I found that I was missing some medium to longer range shots at 75 meters, which of course you would expect. But if you put it out to 150, you're easily hitting the close range stuff, and the majority of them then turn into headshots. And the longer range stuff you'll find a lot easier. And I just find this gun's much easier to manage with the range set out to 150. So give that a whirl if you've unlocked it, and see what you think. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below and let me what you think. But all in all, this gun is an absolute powerhouse. It's one shot and all over the place. Not entirely sure what its sweet spot is. It's somewhere beyond 63 meters. I got a one-shot kill at 63 meters, and I'm certainly getting them out beyond 100 in the sweet spot as well, it seems to me. That could be that guys were damaged, but it certainly did ping up as 120 complete damage on the screen. So I would suggest that it has a pretty broad spectrum sweet spot, and it is kind of in line with the Russian 1895. So this is kind of a medium range gun, but it's not to say you can't use it up close and personal. Just trade it off, with your sidearm, with your pistol, whatever, and off you go. But anyway, all in all, if you can unlock this gun, guys, try and use some of the tips that I've given you in the video. It is an absolute monster. I love it. I hope you enjoy the gameplay in the background. Like I say, I had an absolute blast playing with this gun. I haven't really got a huge amount more information about the gun because it's just not there. But the bullet speed, again, should be about 865. Not a great deal of bullet drops. Going to be 12 meters a second, the same as everything else. And the lead times are really low. So that bullet is really zipping along there. And gun is just all around an absolute beast. I love it. I don't run with the bayonet, as you will see. But if you wish to do that, by all means, go for it. I just prefer, I think you get a faster, aim down sight time than you would without it. It may be, all in my head, so to speak, but I certainly think that it certainly feels that way. Anyway, I've mumbled my way all the way through this long enough. That was the information I wanted to give you guys. That's all I have right now. Simtic's not up. So without further ado, enjoy the gameplay in the background, guys. 45 kill gameplay. Love this gun to death. Get it unlocked, get playing with it. Even the infantry version's an absolute awesome beast. And I'll catch you guys in another video, and I'll see you guys actually in the live stream. I lie. On Saturday morning, we'll do it at 11 o'clock Central Eastern Standard Time for you. Those of you that are in England, that is 5 p.m, guys. Save you doing the math. And I'll see you guys on Saturday, and we will definitely be playing some of the DLC. I'm not renting a server, but I will certainly have all you guys in here, and we'll go to town and we'll jump in the DLC, and we'll have some fun for those of you who've got it. And sadly, if you guys do not, then you have the opportunity to watch and tune in. But we'll be playing some DLC. Anyway, bumbled enough. I'll catch you guys in another video. Take care. Ta-da.
Yes, Max, it is. Guy called Broken Machine. Yes, Max. All day.
Don't think you have said it enough, really.
Is it your...
I told you I'll kill this with your subs.
Oh, Max. getting better with the door.
Yo, did any of you watch